Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. For those of you who haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you do. Today we're still going to talk about single mothers. So I did two previous videos talking about how I became a mom at 16, and now the next couple of weeks we're going to focus on single mothers because there's obviously a lot of negativity surrounding single mothers these days, which is really getting me annoyed because a lot of people are just speaking from experience and they're not really giving you the wisdom that you need. And also I really want to see single mothers thrive in who they are supposed to be and who they are called to be, because I find that when young girls become a single mom, especially at a young age, all their life goals and their ambitions, it just goes out the door and they don't bother pursuing it anymore because they just want to be a full-time mom, and being a full-time mom is not a job. And then later on they regret it in life, not going after the things that they wanted or not doing the things that they love to do, because at the end of the day, your kids don't make you happy. What you're born to do, doing what you're born to do, is what makes you happy, not your kids. So that's what I'm going to focus on the next couple of weeks, is single mom. And today's video is going to be the single mother pandemic. Now I am going to do I'm going to do the baby daddy pandemic, but for now in this video we're going to talk about the single mother pandemic, because believe me, being a single mom, society or women in general are starting to look at it as the norm, and there is a problem with that. Okay, there is a problem because it takes two to make a child, and therefore it's going to take two to actually train up the child in the right way that he or she should go. But in this video I'm going to explain to you the problem of having single mothers in our society, the problem with women intentionally wanting to become a single mom with no man in their life, or women trying to lock down a man by becoming part of his list of baby mamas. I'm going to talk about the problem of all of this in this video, and I hope that anyone who's listening to this will inspire you to, if you want to have kids, to actually get married and to make sure that you have these kids during wedlock, because the kids are actually suffering. Kids that are born outside wedlock, 90% of the time they go through a lot, and I'm going to talk about that. So let's get into it. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my phone just so I don't forget what I'm about to say, and to make sure that I say everything in this video. So let's first of all define what a pandemic is. As you all know, 2 years ago the whole world was going through a certain pandemic that was killing people, but in this video we're going to talk about a single mother pandemic. So a pandemic is a widespread of occurrences of an infectious disease over a whole country. So this is not restricted to just black women or Indian women or Asian women. This is like the whole country, okay, or the whole world at a particular time. And I feel like this is the time where women are waking up and they're saying they don't need a man to have kids, which in a way you can kind of tell where that's coming from. And we're in a time where women would rather just have kids for a man who's already married and not want the man. We're in a time where women are becoming very comfortable with just being a single mom and not have the man involved at all. Now I'm not saying this is every woman, but we can see it every single day that women are getting comfortable with this. And I just want to say that us women creates generation. Okay, we have the power to create a generation, because babies, human beings, are coming from our womb, and our womb can produce different type of children with different personality. Obviously God gives us children with different personality, but it's a woman who has the power to create a generation. A woman has the power to stop creating a generation, but men have the power to create legacy. Women don't create legacy. We don't, to be honest with you, a lot of women don't care about legacy. It's usually men. But in order for a man to have, kids and a kingdom and all of that, he needs a woman. Okay, so if we have the capacity to create a generation, by giving birth to children, then we also have the capacity to put an end to the single mother pandemic. Okay, so even if you're not a single mom who's watching this video, you can also learn a lesson from it and advise anyone in your family, whether it's your niece, your cousin, your auntie, your mom, whoever it is, to also be inspired by watching this video. Okay, so let's talk about the single mother pandemic. Now, there's different types of single mothers. So for me, I fall into the category of a teenage girl who got pregnant while she was stupid and naive. There you have the divorced woman, a woman who's been divorced and she's got kids. Then you have a woman who is a widow. Okay, so she had a husband, her husband died, but she got kids. And then you have the young lady who just decides that she don't want a man, but she want to have kids. So she either looks for a donor or a sperm, or I don't know, she has multiple ways of going about it, and she intentionally decides to be a single mom. Everything I'm about to say in this video is going to be related to all the categories that I've just mentioned. So I'm not doing this video to make anyone feel bad, and I'm not doing that. I'm not, you know, a supporter of shouting and yelling and making people feel bad in order to do good. It doesn't work like that. I don't do that. That's not my style at all. So please don't like zone out to think that, oh, I'm going to start blaming. I'm not doing the blaming thing, because like I said, it takes a man and a woman to make a child. So let's get into it. So the consequences of kids being born outside wedlock. One of the consequences, by the way, this is my list that has been inspired by the Holy Spirit. I don't go to Google or anyone else to get this. This is what I have written, so this is mine. So one of the first problem with the single mother pandemic with children who are born outside wedlock is that the child is deprived of masculine love, which is 90% of relationship problems. One of the problems of the single mother pandemic is that if you have daughters, like a baby girl, she will be deprived of masculine love. She won't know what it's like to be loved by a man because her dad's not in her life. She won't understand how men express love because her dad is not in her life. Also, if you have a son whose dad is not in their life, they won't understand when to not submit to a woman's request. They won't understand that they have to be very logical in making certain decisions. They won't understand how to carry themselves as a man, and also how to be very, very masculine in a society where masculinity is starting to become extinct. Okay, so this is one of the problems, is that they will be deprived of masculine love, and it is the 90% of it. Because of this is 90% of relationship issues that we have right now. If you go on TikTok, if you go on Instagram, you will find so many videos advising women about men. What does it mean if he likes me? What does it mean when he says this? What does he mean when he gets me this? What does he mean when he takes me out? All of these things is because majority of these people are coming from single mother household. Because if there was a dad in your life, if you were daddy's girl, your dad will teach you the game. Your dad will tell you everything you need to know, and you won't have to ask Google. You won't have to rely on somebody's advice on TikTok. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm also a product of a child who's been born outside wedlock, so I'm not judging. Okay, I'm telling you lot the reality of it all. The second point is the child will then be molded to be like their mom instead of discovering the strength in their own gender. So if you have a daughter as a single mom, sometimes on a subconscious level you can start to tame your daughter to be like you, which is quite wrong, because there needs to be a balance in parenting, right? The dad needs to contribute to training, the mom needs to contribute to training. But when the training is specifically left only to the mother, sometimes on a subconscious level, that mother could begin to tame her son to be more feminine, or she could begin to tame her daughter to be more like her. And if you're a narcissistic mother, it could be a bad thing to tame your daughter to be like you, because everybody is unique. And if you have a son, because as us women, sometimes we don't know how to train a son, because a son is different to having a daughter. You can tell your daughter, look, I want you to sit down there, and your daughter will sit down. You can have a son that is really, really stubborn and is very hard to handle, and you need that masculine, that masculine energy to be able to put that son in his place, right? So the problem here is that training that child will be difficult when it's just left to the woman alone, and you won't be able to balance it. And sometimes we can tend to train our child or discipline our child according to how we are feeling, because us women, we are emotional beings. We make 80% of our decisions based on emotions, right? Which could be a very, very bad thing. The next point I have here is that the child feels rejected in his or her own home. As the child begins to start school, the absence becomes more obvious. So when a child is born and the father is not present in that child's life, the child doesn't really feel the absence. And so when the child starts going to school, that's when they realize that, oh, my friend's dad is in their life. My friend's dad got her this. My friend's dad did this. My friend's dad did that, da, 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 da. And then they begin to question the single mom and say, Mom, where's dad? Now, I don't know what excuse people are telling their kids, but one thing I could always say is this, is let your child know the truth. Do not lie to your child about the situation. If you feel like your child is too young to know the truth, just let them know that in due time I will let you know where your dad is. That's the best thing to say. So when the child starts to feel the absence of a dad in their life, then they start to feel a certain level of rejection, because they feel like, well, why does he not want to be in our life? Is there something wrong with me? Especially if the dad left when the child was born, or he wasn't even there from the beginning, something like that. The child could start to feel rejection. And then when the child grows up to have friends, then a part of them will always feel like they have to defend themselves. They always have to fight for themselves, because they've always felt like one parent have let them down. And they continue to face rejection in relationships, rejection in so many ways, because some kids have been traumatized. Some kids, their mind has made them feel like you're not good enough for your dad to be around, or there's something wrong with you, or there's something wrong with your family for your dad not to be around. And you'd be surprised, because the way kids see things and the way they think is really, really different. The next point here is the child then begins to look for that masculinity in relationships, and which is the leading cause to generational curses of having kids outside wedlock. So when the masculinity energy is missing, when there's no man in that child's life, now there's a vacuum, especially in the daughters. There's a vacuum going on there, and that vacuum needs to be filled. And so that child then looks for that in relationships, especially the girls. So they try to get with a guy who's got that father figure, who looks protective. This is why majority of girls like tall men, strong men, muscly men, because a man that looks muscly and strong can be perceived as, oh, he'd be very protective of me, which is what the dad is supposed to do, protect their kids, right? Also, she might like a guy who's overly confident, and a guy who's just really, really tall, because again, it's perceived as he will protect me. And then she would feel like I can just be a little girl beside him, right? Because of that missing masculine gender in her life. So that is what she looks for in a relationship. And the unfortunate part is the guys that are really, really tall and the ones that are very protective and they got the six-pack and muscly ones, those are the ones that tend to play games. Those are the player ones. Those are the ones that sleep with multiple girls. And so now she gets with these type of guys and she's having relationship problems. And she don't want to leave these type of guys because, again, it's filling a vacuum of daddy issues. Okay, so can you see how being a single mom is really causing a lot of problems? It's causing so much problems. And the fact that people are taking pride in that is not something to be prideful about. It's a real issue. It's a problem. And even for the boys who are brought up in a single mother household, some mothers have turned their son into their husbands. Your son is not your husband. So therefore, there's certain things your son is not supposed to do. When it's Valentine's Day, your son is not supposed to be getting you gifts. It's for lovers. It's your son. He's not supposed to get you that. Your son is not supposed to be taking you out every single time. He can take you out once in a while and all of that, but it shouldn't, how do I say it, like, it shouldn't look like a boyfriend and girlfriend relationship. Do you understand what I'm saying? Your son should not be looking at your phone, knowing who you're dating. Like, there has to be boundaries because, again, it's your son. It's not your husband. That's basically what I'm trying to say. But these things tend to happen because they are brought up in a single household. And sometimes the son ends up being mommy's boy. And then the problem is when your son then gets married and then you feel neglected because now your man is not around. Now you competing with his wife, which causing more problems. Okay, so this is why I don't support women trying to intentionally be a single mom. Okay, it's just causing more problems. The next one I have here is that all your child is going to see is struggle love, because as a single mom, it's quite tough financially, mentally. It's tough, and we are in a time where everybody has to work. Everybody has to work. You don't have, as a single mom, you don't have a man providing for you. You don't have a man protecting you and your kids. You don't have a man who could sit down and pour love into you. You know, everything is on your own. So at a point, all your child is going to see is struggle. You trying to mix two jobs at the same time. You trying to get here and get there and do this and do that all at the same time. I saw a woman who had four kids under the age of 10, and then she was pregnant for another one, and there's no man in her life. Can you imagine the things she'll have to struggle for? And she has no car. It's tough. And this is what your kid is going to see. And then your kid will grow up and think, oh, love, you have to struggle in love. And you don't. But because that's all they've seen, then they think that is the definition of love. And it's not. So you're not doing yourself any favor by being a single mom or trying to intentionally be a single mom. Now, let me talk to people who have been divorced and single, or who's become a widow and a single mom. Yeah, so these people, their situation is different because they've been married, they've had a man in their life, but obviously due to the issues of life, you know, they're gone. They're no longer around. My advice is for you to try and remarry or to get back into the dating world. Now, the problem is when a woman is really overweight and her husband is gone, sometimes she doesn't have the confidence to get back into the dating world. But I promise you that there will be someone that you can still marry. And the reason why I encourage these people to remarry, it's because when your kids grow up and marry, you're going to be alone. And then you're really going to feel it, and life's going to hit you really hard. So it's important to remarry. And if you're a child who's watching me and your mom is single, encourage your mom to date again. Encourage your mom to remarry, so that when you get married, your mom will not disturb you. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, single moms, sometimes they tend to disturb their kids' marriage because they don't have a man in their life. and these things are really, really happening. So encourage your parents to remarry. Don't be selfish and say, oh, I want my mom all to myself. Your mom needs love. Your mom needs a man, whether you like it or not. As much as you lot want to say, oh, I don't need a man, blah, 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 blah. Nah, you need a man. You need each other. We need each other, whether you like it or not. That's the truth, okay? We need each other. So please remarry. Go back into the dating world. You know, put yourself first. Put on your nice clothes. Put on your makeup. Do the things that make you feel good. Yeah, that's obviously after you've done mourning and you've gone past that phrase of missing your husband and all that. You know, bring yourself back up and get back into the dating world and open yourself up to meeting new people and trying out new things and living your life, so that when your kids grow up and live their life and get married, you're not going to be bothered because you know you've done it for yourself. Another point that I have here is sometimes some single moms who don't remarry, they end up getting jealous of their daughters when their daughters marry a man of a high, like if their daughter marry a high caliber man or a high value man or a high quality man, whatever it is that you want to call it, you can get jealous of your daughter's marriage because of that, because of being a single mom. Because you have to remember, you might be about that single mom life, but your daughter might not be about it, and she won't be, because again, she'll be looking for somebody to fill that vacuum that her dad has left in her life. So definitely she would want to remarry. So these are the list of consequences that I could have come up with. And the last one would be, these are this is my last one. You could end up being very lonely in your old age. And that's where depression comes in, suicidal thoughts come in, and then you start to see the world in a different light. So it's very important for you as a woman to make sure you have kids within wedlock. Can we normalize that? Can we normalize having children within the union of marriage from now on, and stop with this whole I can do it myself things? Because honestly, we're failing. We can't do it ourselves, okay? The kids are the proof of that. Some kids from single parent household have been traumatized, and your kids are not telling you this because they know that you don't get it and you don't understand it. There's certain cultures that don't understand depression, suicidal thoughts, traumatized, all these kind of stuff. Certain cultures don't understand it, so your kids don't tell you it. And it's becoming a problem. It's becoming a pandemic because it's affecting everyone. The more we have single mother, the more we have kids outside wedlock, the more young people are going to become a stepdad and a stepmom to kids that obviously they have no clue about. Because now anyone who's my age who wants to get married, there's 90% chances that you're going to be a stepmom to somebody or a stepdad to somebody. But the way things are going, like I said, I'm going to do one on the baby daddy pandemic as well, because there is a pandemic where men are getting, I think for many decades or for a long time ago, men have been having loads of kids outside wedlock because some cultures actually permit it. But again, it's causing problems. It's causing problems financially for men, and I'm going to talk about that in another video. But in this video, we're just focusing on the single mother. Remember, I'm a single mother myself, so I'm in your shoe as well, and I understand how it feels. But we've made a mistake, and now I feel like it's time to correct it and walk in the right path. And so we should start to normalize just having kids within marriage. Okay, and for those of you who are going to be like, oh, but Dami, there's some people who were born within a two-parent household, and you know, it's not any better because the dad is this, the dad is that, blah 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 blah. That's a different situation. Somebody who's born in a two-parent household is not going through rejection. Someone who's born in a two-parent household is not looking for another man to fill the vacuum. If anything, they just try and stay away from relationships altogether. Somebody who's born in a two-parent household will get a glimpse of what it's like when a man meets a woman, when a man loves a woman, when a man hates a woman. You get to see it from both ends. So it's really, really different compared to someone who's just brought up in a single parent household. Girls who are brought up in a single parent household, they don't understand what it means to respect a man. They don't know what respect means. They just think, okay, as long as I don't hit you, you don't hit me, we're good. And it's not just that, it's more to that. It's how you say things, it's your tone, it's the way you say it. You know, they don't understand it. Some men brought up in a single mother household, they don't understand how to cater to a woman's emotional needs. They don't understand it. They can't seem to know the soft spot and what to say and what not to say and how to talk to a woman. They don't get it because there's a missing gender in that person's life. So that is it for this video. Next week I'm also going to talk about the baby daddy pandemic that we're having now, because it's been a problem for a long time. Because like I said before, men have been having loads of kids outside wedlock for decades, because in some cultures it's like they have the permission to do so. But is it wise? Is it causing problems? Is it helpful? This is something I'm going to talk about in my next video. So make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you have anything you want to ask me, or if you want to contribute whatever it is that I've said in this video, write it in the comment section so everyone can see it. And stay blessed and stay beautiful until my next video. Bye.